Hey everybody, Marty the JavaScript party here, and my buddy Rhett, and we decided to do a bonus video today just because I had some extra time, and I was really thinking about like this because when I left off earlier, like a couple hours ago, I was like, this clear results. What? Okay, so what we have here is we have a component, and it's called the discrete component, and it's basically everything that's inside this discrete tab. And within that, we have a record button component, and that's this. And then we have another button that we just have. That's just a button that isn't a component. It's just its own. It's just a button that's as part of discrete. And then we have the discrete results. And the problem was that when we hit clear results, like we show the button if there's a result, but when we clear it, but there's nothing to tell the discrete result um, component to get rid of the result. So, like if I go hi and then I clear this, it gets rid of the button, but the result is still there. And that is, because there's no communication between this discrete component and the discrete result. So there's no way to do it. And so when I left off a few hours ago, I was like, oh, okay, what I need to do is in the service, I um, need to like provide a way to create a signal for this discrete result to listen to in order to do it. But that is kind of a mistake because if you think about it, everything in this, if you think about like this is like if you imagine we've got the discrete component inside of it is a discrete result. Nobody outside of this sort of triangle here, this the two children and that nobody outside of that, nothing else cares if they said clear the discrete. Like literally, this is just for discrete. So it probably makes more sense to make this like an input to the discrete result. So the discrete result would have an input that it has, and that would uh, tell it to clear. Or even better, the input could be the results, and it could just wipe out the results, and so then the discrete results would have nothing to display. Like that. Maybe we just bring all that intelligence. But the point is that this button click could easily be handled there. It is kind of weird because, like, when you connect from a, the parent to the child as an input, it's just a variable. So it has to change for anything to for the child to hear. So that is one way to go, and that's a good way to go. Especially in this specific case where it's just like the parent talking to the child and that's everything. But like, let's say you have the parent talking to the child and child talking back to the parent. Okay, so then you got input and output and all that, and that's probably okay. Like three three out of four times, that's going to be fine. And then, but let's say you have a parent talking to a child that's then talking to a grandchild, right? Like, so it's grandparent talks to child, talks to. That's almost that's 50-50. It might be a mistake to do it that way. It might not. And then let's say you have the grandchild talking all the way up to the parent. That is almost always a mistake. And then let's say you have a child talking to a parent, talking to a grandparent, which then talks to a different child. That is always ends up ending in tears. And so, that's just kind of the general thing that I have observed over time because it's what happens is it's very difficult to um, predict when you make a change to the grandchild on one side what effect it has on other grandchildren from other parents, cousins across that. Um, that is very, very difficult to understand and to predict. And typically, when you start making changes to outputs that end up going propagating to other things just break. So that's usually a mistake. Normally, it's much better to make a service and all that. But so this service, the scope of the service should only be within there. And one caveat is if you're working with other developers. So like if you're working all by yourself, everything I just said is true. But if you're working with other developers, services are almost always the way to go because it's just so much easier to determine if somebody else decides to hook into, like if somebody decides to hook into your plumbing, like, oh, okay, you're going to do an output and then that's going to go up to here and then I'm going to make some kind of change and I'm going to put my input down into here and into there. Um, and they're working independently of you and then you make a change, like there's no way they can know you're going to make a change. And then a get, like when when they go to input their stuff and get, they won't realize there's nothing really to indicate that you made a change that breaks their stuff. It's just, but if you had a service and you guys are sharing a service and you make a change to the service, when they go to check their stuff in, they'll see that the service that they're using no longer, maybe the TypeScript signature changed or whatever. So I'm gonna go with the service. I just think it's just a little bit more reliable than doing an input output. I do like the input output. I do enjoy that, but so basically what I want to do is I want to create a service that's in this discrete, that the discrete result, that this discrete component will talk to and the discrete result will listen from. So that is the task for this session. And so I like to do this. I like to go into the package.json. I like to just create a little function for that. So, or like a little script for that. So you see where I've created other ones. And so here's where I created the speech service. And then apparently I created a navigation service here. So I'm going to create another service, comma, and that's going to be my discrete service. And I don't know why my cap locks are on. And basically it's going to be something along the lines of this. So this is ng, and then that's a generate, and that's a service. But I want it to be in, where is my discrete? So in discrete. And I think I'm just going to call it discrete service. Okay, so basically what I like to do at this point is just sort of imagine what I expect to happen. So I expect to see another service. And I guess I would like it to be in a services directory. So discrete and services. I don't know that there'll be any other services, but, and then this is called discrete service. So what I expect to see is a new folder called services show up, and inside of that have a file called discrete service in there. And I named that other one speech service. Sometimes it's good to put the name of what it is, and sometimes it's not good. And I haven't quite figured it out. I think with components, you don't want to say record button component, but I think with the service, you do want to say discrete service. I don't think it'll just automatically. Let me look at the other service. So VA navigation service. I guess I probably, because it looks like it ends up being dot service. So I'm just going to say discrete. And I guess what will happen is it'll be discrete.service.ts. I think that's what's going to happen. So let's just try this out. Go into here. dir, see if our package is in there. Yep. And then npm run discrete service. Okay, take it one more time. We want to see a folder show up in here called discrete or services, and then inside of it a discrete.service.ts. So let's see what happens. So did it happen in the right place? Did not. Okay, so let's go ahead and just delete that, all of that. And continue. That's kind of was a weird thing. Okay, so Oh, okay. So it needed to be inside of components. So components is weird. Oh, generate component discrete result. I don't know why. Component slash. Because what I want it to do is end up in here and in here and then in the services. But for some reason, my system is having a very difficult time deleting. Apparently, um, the OS just did not want Visual Studio deleting that directory. Okay, so now what we want it to do is go into component, discrete, services, and then discrete, and then create something called discrete.service.ts. So just hit the up button so we can go back, run it again. And so let's see. So I don't quite know what happened. Did it go in? It did still did go into component. It went into app. This is weird, right? That's weird. So service component, and it's not inside a component. Did I not save? Oh, I didn't save it. Delete. Let's see. Move to recycle bin. Continue. And then my little shield thing pops up. Yes. Delete permanently. So I did not save it, so we basically ended up just having a Groundhog Day effect there. Okay, so it acted like something happened. Okay, so yeah, now we have our services, and we have our discrete.service.ts, and we have our service. So that was good. So basically in here, what I'm going to want to do is create a function that the discrete component will call, and it will have a signal that says, hey, go ahead and delete everything. The user has requested that everything get deleted, and then we will delete everything. So it's always interesting to me because like it's been 13 minutes. I thought that whole thing that we just did would take about 2 minutes. So it ended up taking 13 minutes. And I do think that, I've always heard that when you talk to a developer and you say, and you have them estimate something, when they estimate something, you should always multiply whatever they say by 3. And I do think that, it is, the problem is that we don't know exactly everything we do when we do stuff. And we don't know how much friction we run into, like there was just, create a service. How long does it take to create a service? About 10 seconds. How long does it take to get all of the calls exactly right to where it puts it in the right thing? Apparently about 5 minutes. All right. And I've made thousands of services, I'm guessing, so it's not like it's new to me. But anyway, so now we have our service, and it's should be very quick to create uh, a a signal and a function and have something that broadcasts on that signal. Now the thing is, a signal like has to change for it to actually publish. So I don't know like what I think what I need to do is just like my instinct is to have like a boolean or something, like a function, but you really can't, you can't really toggle. So typically what I do is I'll have like a number, right? So like clear, and then like I'll increment however many times I've cleared it in the past, and then um, I'll publish the new number, and then that seems to kick everything off. But anyways, I think Rhett is saying that we're done with this video. So happy coding, everybody. Bye.